make them think. Me and Dave had a mate called Sean who made Proton Pack from scratch and looks really film replica style. You go around the fairs and that, get money. It's actually a sick kids charity that you do it for.
Yeah, it's always good seeing people do that. That's why I got a lot of time for footballers. Really, it goes beyond just the sport for me. You ever hear about the story? There was a time when at United, when there was a woman who was just part of the staff called Wendy, it was just her job to get the match balls signed for charity.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a big deal. Like what she used to do was just stand there as the players came, left for the day after training. Like she had a pen ready. All they just had to do was just like grab it off her and squiggle it. Not even left for the day because they were like, "Oh, I'll do it later," or whatever. There was just a time basically when Roy Keane's just come in and Wendy's looking a bit glum and he's like, "What's the matter, Wendy?" She says, "Hardly anyone stopped to sign the balls." He's like, "What? You're fucking kidding me. This is a fucking disgrace." "Don't you worry, Wendy. I'll make sure everyone does every ball from now on." And lo and behold, the following day, every single person's like, "Oh, Wendy, you alright?"
Fucking black eye. It's good though.
Yeah, Roy Keane, he's just like that.
I mean, even if I was the most arrogant person on the planet, which I am, if I was, I would definitely sign a wall for a fucking child. Like, anything about especially ill children, it's probably the most depressing thing there ever is.
Well, look at for what everyone, one of the comments everyone always levels at Ronaldo is that he's arrogant. He's one of the best.
He looks arrogant, like facial yank. Oh, this guy looks like an arrogant bastard, but he's totally generous as fuck.
I kind of understand him though. I'm not saying I'm the same as Cristiano, but his desire to succeed comes from anger. So now he's kind of got like a swagger about it. He's just like, "I fucking did it," And Messi's he's a little bit more of a shy, quiet guy in general, but like, Messi was Ronaldo was. He was a skiv kid at school because his dad was a cleaner, so he was picked on for that. Just like, he used to have to clean up after we help his dad clean the school after his classmates, kind of thing. But he does the best, man. Like,
the thing with the Coke bottle, I always find is really good that he done that. Like, even he's obviously pissed off, but when he took away the Coke bottle from the table, it was like, you drink water. And I was like, fucking right, because the kids should fucking see that and know that.
That comes, Ryan Giggs pinned him up against the wall for drinking a can of Coke at training when he was 18.
Really? Is this an actual backstory behind it?
Yeah, not like fucking throttled him. Pushed him on the, when a man pushes another bloke on the chest up against the wall. Coke? Yeah, he was just like, he's got a Manchester accent, but yeah.
Is he?
Yeah,
he does. So does my pal Audrey. Shit.
It's locked.
But yeah, he pushed him up against the wall. He's like, "Don't you fucking drink that here. You play for Man United."
Yeah. You need to... That's what I kind of hate about sports, is it's all tied in with big brands that are terrible for you. Like NBA's, like Sprite is a big thing. It's just like...
America sell out a lot more though, don't they? Admittedly. Yeah. But football's pretty good with it in general. I don't like it. And there's gambling's relatively under control as far as I understand. It's not like an epidemic. Obviously, there's always problems, but I've seen fairly recent ones of just like, even just because now they're allowed to be sponsors of teams. So I don't know who it is. It might be like Burnley or Aston Villa or something. They got Bet365 as their sponsor. Just so if you buy that, that T-shirt, I only know Sharp View Cam because of Man United. It's something that's just etched on my brain. Sharp and Holston pills. I wouldn't have noticed it in the fridge as an adult if I didn't know it from Tottenham Hotspur in the 90s. But and it's just the whole idea of kids idolise footballers. And if their favourite players, smiling and it just trickles into their brains. So I do think they should ban betting things. This is my not even unpopular opinion, but this is my twatty opinion. I don't like betting shops on high streets. I don't think they should exist. I think it's just a load of bollocks. But then again, maybe I'm not one. Maybe it's one of them things that for some men who don't drink that much or at all, it's kind of their social thing that I'm not seeing.
They tend
But
to be
like,
next,
we've got so
or like,
many.
yeah, well, definitely up here as well. But they tend to be in like areas that have loads of pubs and job centres and that. It's like, yeah,
Yeah,
they
well,
care
that's right.
what they're doing, like banks.
Yeah, yeah, they don't know what they're doing.
Our
But we've
Paddy
got like,
Power is next to a pawn shop and a bank as
yeah,
well. Going off as well
just
down
on
to.
St James's Street, we've got a William Hill, a Betfred, a Bet365, and a Betfred. Like, two of them are next to each other. One's across the street, but then a couple of doors down. And it's like, and there used to be another one. There used to be an Admiral up the road, and I just don't like it. But then again, it's almost like I don't have a right to not like it. Do you know what I mean? It's not like, you know, it's maybe I'm missing something. Maybe it's like pub to some people that don't drink, that kind of thing. They just, maybe that's the only friend. Like, because I just think if you really want to bet at home. But then maybe the side I'm not seeing is that they get out. It gets some men out of the house.
I imagine there's a social aspect to it. You think of like
That's
girl
it.
boy people and that. You've all got pals. It's kind of the same thing as fast food restaurants. It's something that's bad but makes money. It's just something that's out there.
Yeah, but yeah, I know what you're saying. It's my it's like I say, it's my personal.
Yeah, I
That I
definitely
know
don't
it's
like
not
them much.
I know it's not particularly valid.
No, I don't like them at all myself. Like, it's pretty fucking horrible.
I'm not saying I don't have any, but I just think that many close together. It's just like I'm more looking at it from an infrastructure point of view as well. Just like flats, always flats.
Just unlock them all.
But those are the sorts of things that will die out eventually, because as a younger generation of bettors, they don't go to these places. You know, I know loads of people that bet all the time, and they never go to these places. They just do it on their phone.
Yeah, that was
So eventually, those places will just be derelict.
Oh, yeah, oh shit, she died. Sorry, man. Major death. Yeah, I'm surprised betting shops still exist. How easy it is to bet online on your phone. Is it not like William Hill? I take it you've got that down there as well. They were investigated because a man lost something like 400,000 quid in about half an hour from his phone. There was like, how did this man do that?
Yeah. Well, you can bet 400 grand on something, obviously, but that's.
It wasn't even that. It was just a succession of rapid bad bets the man was doing. It was like he was betting against what he didn't have in his accounts.
That's
Just
a proper problem, isn't it?
It wasn't like the guy was doing it as a prank or an experiment. It was just but how could you pick up your phone and lose 400,000, like just under $500,000 in half an hour by an app that you got on your phone?
Yeah, it shouldn't be possible.
Eagle, stag, horse.
I thought I had a touch today, so I was cleaning out sort of the last few bits of clutter that I just know that I've done it periodically over the last few years. Just selling what I really don't need. You know, I'm less of a material. There was a phase when I had loads of money at Roadhouse where I bought loads of sort of backdated stuff that I always kind of wish I had. I literally ripped down like 200 of the most classic films of all time and just made sure I got them all on Amazon. You know, and they're all like 50p a pound each and stuff. And I ended up having so many things. But then I whittled it down. But the last few bits I just thought, you know what, I'll check a couple of these things on eBay, and I've got like Sega Master System Streets of Rage 2 box, and I went on eBay and it's like 550 quid. What? And I'm checking it, and there's loads that are a similar price going for that price. Streets of Rage 1 only 40 quid, but for some reason Streets of Rage 2 was just with the instructions in the box and everything.
Streets of Rage 2 is classed as one of the best games ever made. That's why.
Yeah, I know. It is.
I agree. And that's why it's ridiculous.
I opened the box just to make sure I've got it, and for some reason, it was just a cartridge of Gauntlet. And I don't know why, for the life of me. I don't know if I don't particularly recall whether or not
playing it.
I've actually, I never got it to play. I sort of got it for. I think I just saw it in like a bargain bin and just went, oh, Streets of Rage 2. It's like it's classic. And one day that'll be worth quite a bit, sort of thing. And but I don't know if I ever played it. Well, I don't know if I ever even saw the cartridge or what. And I know, fuck it, I'm not going to get one. I'm not going to. It's not 10 grand. Yeah. And I saw Lost Odyssey on Xbox. It's going for like 240 quid. I've got that. I'll put that on eBay. And an Eazy-E Funko Pop, the one I've got, they're selling for 120. And I bought it for 15. And so that led me on to I started looking at items I could just sort of buy in wholesale and that. And you probably heard of these, but I hadn't. It makes sense that they exist. There's just companies that buy clearance stock that's going to get thrown away. That's part of the distribution retail market. It's like if Tesco's have got fucking 10,000 of these child stickers they put on their face, like temporary tattoos or something. They just have 10,000 of them lying around, and it's like they'll just go all right, 80 quid for all of them. And like, fuck it, done. Someone takes them away. We don't have to dispose of them, and it's some money. Obviously, it's more than that they charge, but there's also websites that then resell it, and they're just random items. But it's like, what did I say? Doorknobs, like actual doorknobs that I've got in my house now, so that people use them at this level, actual houses. And they're like, you got to buy a minimum of 240, but they're 33p each. And so I always call Damien a knobhead. It's just been an ongoing joke for years. It's just like he's a knob for no reason. And one day I'm going to buy 1,000 doorknobs and just get it delivered to his house.
Right.
But yeah, the fact that back to the website, that website exists, and I was just sort of scouring through it a little bit, thinking, oh, obviously I can't do it right now, but there could be a deal. And you've heard of job lots and stuff where you literally just buy a pallet of thrown away stuff. It'd be like a pallet of stuff that people return to Amazon, but it never gets dealt with.
I've done job lots, but with video games, where I've just bought a box of random games.
Yeah, they're like 34 quid each, and it's like, sure, I could resell whatever's on. Like, if it's a decent enough amount of stuff, I'm sure I could sell it. But I don't really have much space to store a pallet's worth of stuff.
It's a lot of fucking a bit like kind of a risk as well.
Or whatever it is, to be honest, it's probably going to be. I'll probably be able to get 35 quid back for it. But yeah, you'll find yourself stuck with stock and stuff. So I just do that too much.
Yeah, I've ended up having I bought a box of say 200 games, and 50 of them are FIFA, 09. Pointless. It's like nobody's going to buy them. I've bought lots of games where I've found a copy of Earthbound, which is 50 quid at the time. More now, it was yes. Nailed it.
Some games, they're I remember when I sold some games to Game once, or see it. Oh yeah, I've seen this game. And things like fairly good titles like Dying Light, I just wanted 4 quid for it. They were going to give me. And then I took in, what's it called? Something to do with putty.
Clay Fighter?
No. It was a PS4 game. It was one of the first games that came out.
PS4 game.
Basically, where it wasn't a big title in the first place, they never made many of them. So I was like, it was 26 quid. He was going to give me for it. This is game, and I'm like, why is it so expensive? This is a well cheap game when I bought it. I bought it from here. He's like, well, it comes down to not the popularity of the game, but the rarity. Because if anything, the more popular a game is,
the more copies exist. It didn't have any people actually getting the game at first, then to go have any copies of it.
It was like a really shitty 2D puzzle game. It was actually alright, but it was just you were a bit of putty, you just sort of floating around. So there was no link to a franchise, no lore, no history. It was just a game that I don't even know why they bothered releasing it, to be honest. I think it's just to fill in it was right at launch, so I think it's just to sort of fill in the child slot, So they've got a couple of games for kids. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they only made about fucking 5,000 copies of it, because you literally wouldn't seek that game out in a million years.
Copy of Earthbound I was talking about. Earthbound didn't. It's an RPG, but it's set in at the time, 1992, which people thought, what? I thought it was a fantasy game. So people didn't like it. Like, well, they didn't buy it. But now it's like totally high value. You know. Shit.
I think one of the original Final Fantasies is as well, one of the old ones. I've still got not every Final Fantasy in existence, but I've got 1 to 15 like physical copies. I made sure I bought them. They're not like on the SNES or anything.
Yeah, like the PS1 collections and things like that.
PSP, like Final Fantasy 1, 2 and 3, and I think 4 and 5 only came out, well, Game Boy Advance and PSP. Yeah, I've got, what did I have 6 on? I can't remember, actually. I might not have had a physical copy of 6 actually, so that might be 1 or 2 I'm missing. Then yeah, I've got 7, 8 and 9 as you can imagine, and then I don't know if I've got a physical 10 actually. I've got a physical 11 and it's still in its packaging. It's got a foil wrapper because I made a conscious decision never to play it because it was an Xbox 360 game. But well, as in it was an MMO, and I just consciously thought to myself when I was like 16 or whatever I must have been at the time, like, right, don't play an MMO.
End up taking up a lot of your time, right?
Yeah, I do like having an end to my game. This is something like Skylines, but the Forest, man, I could have carried on for a few more 100 hours on our game on the Forest if there was a point.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Even if there was just a mode.
Like a horde mode or a...
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, I was about to say where you can use whatever base you've built, or like there's a separate horde mode where it's just like literally every night you're going to get a wave. And if you venture too far out of whatever zone the cannibals come in thicker and there's more mutants, you kind of hemmed into an area or whatever, and it's like make it through the night, and then a few of them all. I don't know. I just imagine some sort of horn blowing in the morning and then all retreating back. But yeah, just something like that to keep going. I would have built for fucking few hundred more hours.
Oh man, I'm getting confused with this game.
Got a marathon down here tomorrow, so I can't work. Well, I could, but if I start at 3 PM.
Do you get any sort of payback for that you can't physically work because the council's put something on?
Well, no, because I can work later on, and it's just not enough. They'd have covered that in contracts and stuff anyway. They're very locked. They've got everything wrapped up, you know. They can technically fucking. I know how obviously you know about it happening to me with my account getting frozen, but I knew that was for insurance. I wasn't so sure at first, but obviously when that was confirmed, I was like, phew, at least it's something rectifiable.
Yeah.
But some of these boys have had like their accounts just terminated, and like John said he holds his hands up to it. He technically reckons he did something wrong, but the thing is they'll tell the press and whoever's like grilling them that they've got an appeal system and stuff, and you know it's all dealt with fairly, but bollocks is it. They do not hear you out. They've got such a waiting list. Providers will get another one. And what John reckons happened was they audited one of his alcohol sales, or just age-restricted item sales.
Right.
And it's quite literally got a match. So whoever's created the account on Deliveroo, it's got to match that date of birth. It's all done electronically because I used to do it at first willy-nilly and just sort of put it as long as I knew they were over 18, or like even if I checked their ID, I wouldn't be so fussed about putting the exact date in. Then I got an email saying, blah blah blah. We've noticed a few times on your account that this, so I'm just super careful now. But it's like people can even just. There's no real need to put in your right date of birth when you start up an account for Deliveroo, is there? You know, like how many times have you filled in a form and you just put a different date of birth because it's an irrelevant form? You know, you're signing up for fucking Men's Health magazine's email list or something like that, and you just put in the most quickest date of birth that they've got to the default, and you can get done for it. But yeah, John just had his frozen, and it's like, well, I can't do nothing about it. He just carried on working for Uber. But there's another guy I spoke to who was just like, I've just had my Uber account frozen, and they just froze it and sent him a message saying, due to quality control purposes, we have temporarily suspended your account. We'll be in touch in a few days. And I don't know how quick Uber were to get back to him, but I was like, what's your rating like? He was like 95%. That's high. Mine's pretty. I'm a really good rider, and I think I've gone down to like 88 or 89.
Yeah.
Because only for damaged items, though, I'm super polite. And sometimes you can't do nothing about a damaged item, but at the end of the day, if it keeps happening, it keeps happening. But it only happens with me with one of the McDonald's. But yeah,
Just when it's like being sort of crushed or something, like you
basically,
drove too fast.
for McDonald's drinks, what you got to do is double lid it, and all the managers are meant to tell their staff to do it. With the McDonald's down the marina with the drive-through, it's all fucking 16-year-olds, man. And there's like a couple of managers short, but just because they're telling them to do it doesn't mean they're doing it. And by the time they make the drink, put the lid on, put it in a bag, and put a sticker on it, so I can't even check. And because they're sort of upright, it just doesn't take too much moving around for the lid to pop off. Whereas if there's two lids, it's much more sturdy. It's more than double sturdy. And also, that area tends to get me going up quite a steep hill for quite a long time, and there's potholes and yeah, things can happen. Like if the food can move and crush the cup. But like I say, if it was double lidded, it might spill a tiny bit, but it won't. My actual box stinks now. It's just had like coffee milk and that in there. It's just mold. I can't really clean it because it's sort of sealed, but gone into underneath the leather lining. Probably gonna have to cut it out, physically cut it off out of my box and then rip it all out. The actual lining. Just live without having any lining in it. But yeah, I just worry about that sort of thing happening sometimes to me, and that's why I can't. It's obviously some of these guys have worked for them for years, but although I haven't said that, there was another guy that I thought that was there in that conversation. The guy had his Uber account frozen. He was like, "I'm on my 5th account, don't worry. You just sign up with another email address," but it doesn't happen overnight.
Just to clean my ears out. Notes. Oh.
Sorry, I might was off.
Right.
I wasn't talking much, but I did say hello when you got back. Yeah, I'm just gonna go for a shite.
Shite. If your site have a St George's cross at the end of it, patriotic poo. Yeah, I've had a foot first. Fucking retaining this game. Okay. Running about in circles.
That's not needed anymore. Oh, I'm teasing.
Breaching.
I actually, it was a good day for me the last couple of days because today, or yesterday, it was the first time in ages I've gone and just sort of thought it doesn't really matter how much I spend in the supermarket, obviously within reason, but I can go and do a big shop rather than just thinking, right, I've got £8.50. What do I really need to? Breakfast, like, you know, checking other things, toilet paper, breakfast, blah blah blah. I just actually went and bought some like cleaning stuff for my flat and
resourceful with your spending, exactly what it is.
I went and got like white wine vinegar and baking soda, and I've been doing the carpet a little bit and that because where I walk in, it was quite brown on the carpet. I think it's just from where I was working in a kitchen with the oil and stuff. And then today, this is where it gets big. I went to Sports Direct and spent £30 on clothes.
Alright, what'd you get?
Just 2 t-shirts and 2 jogging bottoms.
That's good, right? It's a good feeling you get new stuff. Yeah.
But that's the thing, honestly, for me right now, I've for the last several months, I've had 1 pair of jogging bottoms and 1 pair of jeans. And like, I prefer to ride around on my motorbike in my jogging bottoms. What I'm getting at is, I shouldn't be wearing the same pair of jogging bottoms as often as I do. Yeah. But I don't really have a lot of choice. But it's not so expensive. But when I'm sort of spending when I'm living off of like £20-30 a week on food, you go and spend 20 quid on 2 pairs of jogging bottoms. I did that. I did a whole sort of 2 for 20 quid deal. It's a step closer to me getting back down the gym. Even though it shouldn't matter, it just does. I just don't like the idea of, because then it's like, well, I can't have 1 pair of jogging bottoms I also go to the gym in, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's plenty.
Yeah, it's not.
I tend to go for a phase where I'll be out the year with the gym with the same stuff and I'll feel kind of sick yet, and then I'll go to the shop and get new trainers and trackies. Feel kind of up for it again.
Having a gym kit, that's a common thing, but that's what I'm getting at. I need a gym kit. I've got my motorbike kit, which it's got double purposes, double uses at some point as well, a few of them, but I don't need to wear quite. So it's not as cold now, obviously, as well, which is another factor. So I don't need to wear as many layers, but I do need to get a whole new everything. But I'm getting there.
Yeah, it's good though.
Finances. Yeah, I was looking at beds and stuff because this bed's fucking. I mean, I've had it since 2014, and Damien had it for, I think, 6 or 7 years before then. And they're meant to only last like, even a good bed's only meant to last you like 8 years, isn't it?
I don't know about beds. You talking mattress?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's 6 years that they recommend.
Yeah, I'm sure you can buy some that have got like 10-year guarantees, 15-year
Yeah.
guarantees and stuff, but you're paying for it, obviously. But it's probably one of them things, man, that like I know it will be. It'll be one of them things that when I get a new mattress, I'm gonna be like, what have I fucking been neglecting?
Mm.
I remember getting a bed when I took over Albie's club. I just put a bed down in there, and I was like, it's the first bed I bought. So it's brand new, just a 200 quid jobby, but I was like, fuck me. And like the handful of girls that I've been seeing over the last few, well, not so much recently, but like as a bartender and stuff, whenever I used to crash at theirs, I'm like, girls know how to do bed comfort.
Mm.
Are you all right?
They got like fucking 20 pillows. Like,
Totally, yeah. Bedded, totally bed.
yeah.
Bed maker.
Gays are like that, and
Oh,
yeah, I just wanna. Oh, this bed would have had both me and Damien shagging in it, fucking wanking in it, like sweating our tits off on drugs in it, you know.
I got a new mattress 2 months ago, man. Oh, it feels nice, look.
Yeah, I want to get an everything. And I was just thinking before as much as you heard me talk about moving out, I still can't do it.
Yes. Oh, good time, man.
So I might as well make this a bit more homely. Frankly, like I said it in sort of jest, but basically there's the guy on the top. This is all studio flats, except for the basement, which I wouldn't go near with a barge pole because it's got a street entrance and it's fucking, the noise a calamity. People can just walk into the front garden and do all that shit. Breaking in would be a thing.
Mm.
An actual worry, and there's a little alleyway that goes around the side as well, and imagine seeing someone there at 4 in the morning, some cracker trying to fucking. Anyway, and it's a top floor as well. It's a 1-bedroom. And I said to the guy that lives there once, I was like, "Oh, if you ever do decide to move out, let me know, because I'm up for a 1-bedroom." He's been here. He's the only one that's been here longer than me, actually, in this building.
Mm.
But that'd be perfect for me. I'm still a bit anxious about leaving this block, to be honest, just with what I do and stuff, and just smoking.
Mm.
I'm pretty safe. It's something else I did as well for the first time ever. I bought one of them things where you normally put them in your toilet and you just peel off the sticker and it smells really nice for about 4 weeks.
Yeah, it's like a adhesive thing.
Yeah, they're only about £1, but they're pretty strong. And I'll just put one of them in the sort of in the stairwell, like relatively near to my room.
Nothing yet.
On top of a little ledge.
But my little
And we're not meant to put stuff in the
is
hallway, but
creating
they
quite
don't
the
fucking check
commotion.
anymore. I haven't cleaned it in months.
Everything will work out just fine.
And I just think that there's not a single person in this building that doesn't know that I smoke, so it's not like I've got, like, they'll be a little bit grateful for me hiding the smell, if anything. Do you know what I mean? At first I was like, well, if I make too much of an effort to put like a device outside my room to cover the smell, it'll be obviously trying to cover up the smell, sort of thing.
Mm.
Now I'm just like, well, fuck it. They all know. And if anything, I think they'll just appreciate me spending my own money to do it. But yeah, I could just move into another block of flats and it'd be the wrong sort of chemistry for.
Changed your mind yet?
Ada?
Sorry, I just cut the scene in there.
No.
Seems like something big is about to
Ada
go down in the throne room. Babysitting's tough, huh?
on my side.
Hey, Ada! Ada!
So, and that was my first flat. It was quite a nice area in Edinburgh,
Same as ever.
and there was a rota where somebody would clean, or just like mop the front of what's the lobby bit, or when you go into the flat, the building. It would be like every sort of 2 months. It would be me, and I would go all out. I would use really strong smelling lemon floor wipes, like whatever would you call it, liquid, and I would get a really nice air freshener, like when you just leave in the corner, and I would leave like a little pack of mints for people to pick up. Just be total all out. You just total like, I'm the fucking best at this. You just mop the floor using fucking bleach. How common. This smells like fucking the Queen's toilet. Sorry, I've spent about 2 hours doing it as well. Polishing the glass in the windows, it was like totally perfectly see through. It's funny that. Where's that?
Yeah. I've not lived with loads of other people, but in London it was alright with I've done a lot of sofa surfing or temporary living type quarters, do you know what I mean? Because of my bartending and travelling.
Yeah.
It wasn't until I was, well, I haven't actually left the country in my 30s, so yeah, but yeah, my last season was 29.
Mm.
And then took a little while to get settled, but I've been in flats ever since. Yeah, just sometimes they're fine, aren't they? Shared houses, but then you can get absolute fucking melts.
Yeah.
I could live with Damien.
Mm. How is that scene now?
I never have. I've stayed on his sofa for a few months, but me and Damien will probably do that eventually. Though, once because he's getting his help to buy through the government type house, so he's got to live in there for 2 years once he gets it. But after that, me and him should just pool our resources and get a flat because we're both just. Damien never really wanted kids, and I might not have them at this point. I'm not too sure. I've always liked the idea, but I've always been set on the idea that I'm not going to have them for the sake of it. Yeah, living with Damien will be alright.
I have some new goods that might interest. Welcome.
Welcome.
I've got something new for you, mate.
Oh, fine. What to sell?
I just don't want to move somewhere and there's just a fucking really nosy couple living across the road, you know what I mean?
Yourself welcome. Welcome. A deal well
Thank you.
struck.
Let me just get audio.
Crossing your
Well, some
T's,
people, right,
dotting your I's.
swearing by the logic that you shouldn't try and buy a house these days.
Better to be over prepared.
It's got too expensive almost, but basically it also coupled with the idea, the logic is, when you own a property, you've got to pay for all the maintenance, and if there's something seriously goes wrong with it, you're fucked. You know, if the roof caves in or something, you're absolutely fucked. Whereas if you're renting, you'll never have that problem because you can always move. And within reason, any repairs got to be done with the landlord, so therefore, you should always rent. You're saving up a house, aren't you?
Yeah, that's it, man.
How much I mean, it's probably relative to where you live as well. I mean, but how much, just out of interest, are you looking at saving, or what's the target value of the property for what? Just.
I'm not perfectly asking about this. I don't get none about houses or that. Just kind of saving as much up as we can, really. Yeah?
Oh right, so you're just sort of in the phase where you're saving.
It's not like it's not like I know what we want or where it's going to be. It's just the case of keep saving until it happens, type thing.
Yeah,
renting's a bit of a pain in the arse up here. Right? You kind of get fucking screwed. I mean, you obviously compared to you, it's really cheap, like, but it's just there's the places that are available for a reason. There's a fucking next door a dicks. God, it's just a rough.
Yeah, that's the fear, isn't it? What if you move in somewhere and hate your neighbours?
A friend of mine, Liam, actually, he and him and his missus bought a flat, a really nice flat, really nice area. But the next door was a total fucking posh boy, but he was a total coke. He always had pals round partying, and it was like, fucking hell, man.
Fucking monsters.
The guy had cash to pay for the flat, but he was still a fucking dickhead. Fuck's sake.
Yeah, I don't mind people who are party animals if they're respectful. Like,
Yeah,
you know, you can talk to them, kind of thing.
that's it. I mean, I wouldn't mind about this next door neighbour if they'd done it, even just every Friday night. I wouldn't be so annoyed because it's like Tuesday night, we've got pals round.
He was rich enough to do it every night. Yeah.
2 o'clock in the morning. Pals
That's
round.
that's what I don't do here to draw any attention to myself either. It's not like I'm one of them people that's got people smoking around here.
There was a guy, I thought he was about to take a piss in my garden, so I was like, fuck this, and I just went out with my fucking pants, but he was gone. He's fucking lucky, I was levered on him. He went back into the house next door. I was like, I'm going to say something to her. Alright. Just me and my pants, like Charles Bronson. Oil me up.
Yeah, I remember this girl Roberta I used to live with. She was Italian. She didn't have mates around very often. When she did, they're well loud and Italian and just like the 2 times I had to ask them to stop making that noise. She was so apologetic. She was so apologetic when she sobered up the next day. Like she that night she'd be like, oh yeah, sorry. And they did everything. They literally did. Whenever I was like,
Yeah, they're probably ashamed of themselves.
no, I think that well, more at the time they just don't realise they don't know whose bedroom's upstairs. I remember one time I'm just there at 1 in the morning and suddenly I heard like 10 people just going, like some proper fucking Italian song where they're all banging on the floor, they're banging their feet, they're banging the table, everything. And I just got one of my plastic flare bottles and just banged on the floor. They stopped immediately. And a couple of minutes later, Roberta's goes, oh, I'm really sorry, I was a bit drunk, quite drunk in that.
That's the thing, I mean, you'll ken yourself, if you've had a few drinks, you don't realise how obnoxious you can be. I mean, not like you personally, just in general.
Yeah,
you're louder, you're shouting, but you didn't realise, and you're clapping your hands. It's not like you're being...
She did everything right. And the next day, I saw her in the kitchen, she was just like, I'm so sorry about that. I was like, honestly,
she was probably genuinely embarrassed.
I expect you to have fun. Yeah, that's it. They were just having fun, and they did it. They did it briefly, and I banged on the floor. It's fine. That's just me sending the signal. There's someone up here asleep. Like, if it was 9 o'clock, I probably would have just been like, walked down there and gone, can you keep down a bit, please?
Nah, one of my older next door neighbours were pretty big Rangers fans. They would totally sing like sectarian tunes. So obviously, I mean, this is talking about once in a blue moon, and I didn't know what to say to them. I was like, can you stop that? Because I don't want the police coming here. She's like, you'd be like,
is it that bad? Like,
yeah, it's very strict up here for that sort of thing. Like, I was like, I really don't want to have to deal with the police. I'm calling my door saying, are they singing sectarian tunes? Because I'll be like, I don't know.
You have to say, you either got to lie to the police or...
Yeah, so if somebody phones saying they're singing sectarian tunes and then you go, did you hear them? I wouldn't let you fucking dob anybody in, like. I wouldn't lie either. It'd be obvious if I was lying with total fucking, no.
If they can hear, you can definitely hear, sort of thing.
It's bad up here, right? They are quite strict with it, like if you sing a sectarian tune on a train, you're banned for a train for life. That's how strict they are these days. Probably appeal it somehow, I imagine, like, but... Yeah.
I know some like Eastern European people I've worked with, especially in places like Zante, because in Zante you get people from like Macedonia and Moldova and stuff, and you don't really meet many of them in the UK. And Oh, I remember one of the things that the young lads they sing out there is, you know that like there were 10 German bombers in the air, there were 10 German bombers in the air, and the RAF from England shot one down, and the RAF from England shot to that tune. And there were 9 German. So it goes on for fucking ages. I used to get pissed off at that sort of thing. And, any Nazi salutes. I remember once at Roadhouse. Noel
Nazi
and,
salutes is something else. Like,
I get it though, yeah, with Nazi salutes, especially as I got older, like, you know. I remember, yeah, it was at Roadhouse. Noel and Vito had finished from Dispense a little bit earlier. They were sitting at my station. They both worked there. They were telling me about how one of the door ladies, like, saw one of them, I think, or both of them did a quick Nazi salute as for some sort of. Vito's got a dark secret, very dark secret. He's from Lithuania. I'm not excusing it. I'm just explaining. And she came over and said something at the time, but then when they were describing the story to me, she came over and asked me for a pen and paper and wrote down on it, "I'm very disappointed in both of you," and just passed it to both of them and walked off. She was proper upset, you can tell. Like, she took it seriously. It's like, well, if you're Polish, and she was probably about 45, 7 years ago, so parents probably.
I remember I was working in a pub and I was having drinks with one of my colleague and a pal, and we were talking about, remember Inglourious Basterds, the movie?
Yeah.
Talking about that, and there was a bit when they were, my pal was going, Schnell, 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 and we were all total laughing, but like, wasn't we being, like, we weren't laughing at being Nazis, we were laughing at a scene. A Polish chef, it was his colleague, but I didn't even speak to him, but he fucking heard us and he was really pissed off. And I had to explain to him, somebody came up, like my colleague came up to me and said, yeah, he's pissed off for you, he wants you to leave. I was like, why? Because you're being totally, you were saying Nazi stuff. Well, we were talking about a film. We had to explain to him, like, no, I mean, it's obviously now we can see why he was upset, but it's just a total accident. Like.
It's part of, that's just you learning part of life, isn't it? That's just part
yeah,
of
well,
life.
that's certainly never, I wouldn't shout,
now you know,
never
kind of thing.
shout Schnell in front of anybody.
I wouldn't have known that too. I didn't know until quite recently that Pikey was like considered racist and really offensive.
Yeah, Romany people hear it, that. People hear it.
Yeah, it's just because the first time I heard it was in Snatch. So I was just like, Pikeys.
I don't even know where it even comes from.
Well, then you tend to call, like, say, down here we'll say, you know how like you say, it's a total Raj area. Yeah. We'd be like a total Pikey area.
Yeah.
But now I know not to. I still accidentally use it sometimes, but obviously I don't. Not to gypsies in a malicious way.
Shirtlift is a funny term, right? Where does that come from? That's an old school.
I would just sort of assume because when you bum them, you gotta lift the shirt.
Lift the shirt to get to the air.
Yeah, we'll have that bears now tonight. A bear off.
I was looking at a picture and I was trying to see how many people look like me. Fucking 5 of them at least.
Quite a bit older than you though. Nice.
Experience bears. Bare necessities. Is there any famous bears? Like celebrities that are...
What, like a Louis Spence, like celebrity, just like pretty much just famous because he's gay.
Somebody who...
Famous because he's gay type of guy. Not that I know of, no.
Part of the bear scene. What? Oh, that's good.
And there are down here, sorry, yeah, within the actual bear community, there are, yeah.
I mean, yeah, but I'm talking about, like, actors, right?
No, not that I know of. It's not celebrated, is it, like, as an individual subset? Version is quite underground.
It's open, what am I doing? Yeah. Yeah, just that. Where am I fucking going? Okay, cable device. Uploads. We going this way, Leon. Who knows where we're going?